NBC Sports Network welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Hockey League.
A clear night in Carolina as the Hurricanes look to hold off a Flyers team making a strong push for the postseason. Hi, everybody, and welcome into NHL Live, presented by McDonald's. Alongside Mike Milbury and Jeremy Roenick, I'm Catherine Tappan.
Just back from the West Coast, where it was nice.
Yeah, I didn't have that cold weather in Lake
Jay Iron up
Are
in
your
Lake
hands
Placid.
warmed
Oh
up?
my
She has
God!
a tan and we're white as ghosts.
Yeah, right.
He's out there training with a Jamaican bobsled team in Lake Placid. Unbelievable.
The Carolina Hurricanes will look to hold off a Flyers team who are 9-2-4 in their last 15 games and currently sit 4 points back of the second wildcard spot in the East. January 19th, the Flyers were 11 points behind the second wildcard spot with 35 games remaining. They now have gone 8-1-4 since. They're well within reach of the Bruins for that last playoff spot. And Craig Berube opted to change his lines over the weekend, splitting up Claude Giroux and Jakub Voracek. Was this the right decision, Mike?
Certainly worked for him. They won a couple of big games against really very strong teams in Nashville and Washington. Listen, Claude Giroux was having some trouble getting his game together. Sometimes you take these situations for granted, playing with a guy that has been as hot as Voracek. Giroux just really was starting to strangle the stick, but here he's in good position, makes the good release on the shot. Here gets it back to the point, makes a good play. I mean, this is the stuff you want from Claude Giroux, and it worked certainly for Jake Voracek, who made a terrific play. Watch the vision here as he sees Del Zotto flying in late. This is on the game-winning goal here. Good vision to find him, and obviously when you're at the top of the heap in the scoring race, you can make plays like this. This is what they've come to expect in Philadelphia. It's a big reason why they're back in the thick of things.
You know, I like the move because it splits up your powerhouses. And sometimes you have the tendency when you play with another top player is to rely a little bit on him. When you get separated, you feel a little bit more of a responsibility to put the puck in the net in the line that you're on. Obviously, having a 1-2 punch is huge, but you definitely put in a little extra effort knowing that you're the guy in the line that has to score goals when they're not together. So definitely a good move by both of them. And it's amazing that Claude Giroux has not scored an even strength goal at home all year. So maybe try to get him going on the even strength side. Still having fantastic years, both of them.
Jeff Skinner on the other side for the Carolina Hurricanes called this season very frustrating for Carolina. He has been frustrated as well, plagued by injuries most of his career. JR, what is the upside to Jeff Skinner's game?
He's a tremendously talented and gifted player. Not very big, but you want to talk about a guy who knows the game and can get into those positions to score goals, and he's extremely crafty. He scored 31 goals in his rookie year, so obviously he has the offensive talent. He's gone through some big-time injuries, especially concussions, which is what the Carolina, I think, brass are really worried about him, but a guy that you cannot give up on. A very smooth skater. Actually started figure skating before he even started playing hockey, so his ability to move on his skates and get in the open and is very unique for a small player like that. But I love watching this kid play, and I would not give up on him so early.
Yeah, he's a fun player to watch indeed. Longtime Canes netminder, also a fun player to watch. Cam Ward playing in a milestone game tonight, hoping to lead Carolina to a win in his 500th career game. We'll get you to center ice for face-off in Raleigh next. Back, everybody. Puck drop coming up in just a few moments. Philadelphia Flyers and the Carolina Hurricanes. For Philly, how important are these 2 points tonight, Mike?
They're huge. There's so little room for them to slip, and they've come so far, but still they have to keep their foot on the gas pedal and keep on moving forward. It's a long, long grind to the finish line. These 4 points seems like 40 at this particular juncture.
They're huge. You've come so far and work so hard to get back into the playoff race, which is exactly what you want to do when you're in that locker room. They had a setback last week, losing to the Columbus, which they thought they should win at home. Now going into Carolina, a team that they think that they should beat because Carolina's in the bottom of the league, but it's a team that's been playing really well defensively. So this is not a given game by the Flyers, but is one that could be the difference in 2 points, whether that gets them into the playoffs.
I mean, you wonder if the Flyers can continue to be as hot as they've been, or the Bruins will stay as cold as they've been. But it's going to take that combination for the Flyers to make it.
Boston Bruins hosting the Vancouver Canucks tonight. We'll have highlights throughout the evening of all the games in the NHL, but we are about to send you to Carolina. Claude Giroux, second on the team to Jake Voracek with 57 points. First period action from PNC Arena coming up. Fans filing into PNC Arena, looking forward to the matchup between the Philadelphia Flyers and the Carolina Hurricanes. Face off just a few moments from now as we get you set with Jim Jackson, Keith Jones, and Chris Therien with the call in Raleigh.
Cam Ward, game number 500 for the veteran goaltender as he gets his Hurricanes ready against the Flyers. Underway, the Flyers in their road whites, home red uniforms for the Hurricanes. Beat the Flyers 2-1 here in this building back on January the 2nd, the last time these two clubs got together. Fire line combinations at the top of your screen as Braden Coburn flips the puck off the glass and out to the neutral zone. Include as Andrej Sekera, and now he'll move the puck ahead, but it's over skated by Eric Staal, and the Flyers have it. Claude Giroux moving up, and he'll flip one in. Ward the easy save there, and he's going to hang right on to it. Our first whistle, 27 seconds in.
Giroux just looking to get pucks to the net. When Wayne Simmonds is on your line, you're looking for deflections and rebound opportunities, and Giroux and Simmonds playing together over the last couple of games for Craig Berube. And Wayne Simmonds red hot. Whoever's played with Simmonds has been able to pick up some points based on his strong play, and Craig Berube very pleased about the way Simmonds has been performing.
John Couturier wins the draw for Philadelphia as you look at the line combinations for the Hurricanes at the top of your screen, put together by first-year head coach Bill Peters. Back to the point. Nick Schultz sending one toward the net. It's deflected away to the corner. Matt Reed is there, but play is stopped as the puck was hit with a high stick. Showing you the lineups. Now how about who's not playing here tonight? The scratches. Lecavalier once again out for the Flyers. Ray Emery not dressed. Lower body injury, so he stayed home. And that is why Anthony Stolarz is backing up. Rob Zepp here tonight. And a late scratch for the Hurricanes, John Michael Lyles. He was scheduled to play in his 700th National Hockey League game here tonight. Did not receive word as to what went wrong. He did skate in the warm-up. Here's a steal almost by Matt Reed, but defenseman Brett Fillmore gets it back. Flyers take it again, though, as Couturier flips one from the angle off of Jake Voracek, and then back to Couturier behind the net. He finds Voracek. Voracek, though, it's swept away by Ron Hainsey, and now the Canes will move it up, but not out. Reed keeps it in. Backhands, and the Canes will get it back. Well, just over a minute in. Glad you could join us on Comcast Sportsnet and also with the country on the NBC Sports Network. As the Hurricanes might surprise you, they're 11-7-3 over the last 21 games. They got off to a real tough start, and they are at the basement of the Metropolitan Division, but they played better of late.
Stingy defensively, and that's probably been the key for Bill Peters' team. Took him a while to get his team to buy into with the new system that he brought in. Some of it from Detroit. And there's no question that Carolina has played much better in the second half of the season.
Puck in the neutral zone, shoveled into the Philadelphia end of the ice by Riley Nash, gotten back by Nick Grossman. Move it ahead. Flyers, though, disrupted, could not clear the zone. Grossman goes over to get the puck back. Just out of the reach of Andrew McDonald behind the net. Ryan White looking forward along the boards. Bounces back to the point. That shot by Skinner is handled by Zepp, and he'll hang on to it. There's Craig Berube, hoping Rob Zepp can continue his fine work.
Yeah, and Craig Berube looking to slow down Jordan Staal and Eric Staal, both Staal brothers playing on the same line. Berube comfortable with either Couturier's line or Giroux's line going head-to-head with Bill Peters' top line. Bill Peters very aware of the Flyers' power play and the skill that's on that. He wants to make sure his team stays disciplined here tonight against a Flyers team that can beat you in that special teams area.
Canes win the draw. Shot by Brad Malone, and the save by Zepp had to deal with some traffic around him. Flyers move the puck to the boards, and Vanderbilt is overtaken there by Jay McCunnett. Big Dwyer in after that puck. It bounces free. Vanderbilt tipping it in. The Flyers do gain control, and Michael Del Zotto will backhand it onto the neutral zone. So Peters admitting to us before the game how much more difficult it is to get your checking assignments against this Flyers team with Voracek and Giroux split up. Can't focus on the one line anymore.
Yeah, he would have preferred if Craig Berube had kept them together. He said it's much more challenging to try to slow down both star players of the Philadelphia Flyers, and so far it's worked well for Craig Berube in the last two games.
Canes get the puck back. Here's McClement, the veteran center iceman, just flipping it deep into the Philadelphia zone. Eric Staal hard in after it. Comes into Nick Schultz and got the puck. The Hurricanes now takes the shot off the glove of Zepp, but he is able to corral the puck and hang on. Let's go down inside the glass for the first time on this night to Chris Therien.
Very much, Jimmy. You know, I think when you look at Carolina, they have played a lot better since the beginning of this new year. And one of the big reasons has been their goaltender, Cam Ward. Guys, he has been outstanding, to say the least. His 500th game here tonight. And you can see what he's done, including that Stanley Cup in his rookie year and the Conn Smythe in the same season. He's been very, very good. After some seasons of injuries, he's come back this year and been very strong for a team that's had a rough start.
Shot there by Justin Falk went wide of the Philadelphia net. There keeps it in, and Throws it back deep into the zone. Delzato races over, set it off Raffl's stick, but kept in the zone, and another shot. That one blocked aside as it never made it on goal. The Canes have spent some time in the offensive zone here early on in this game. Now the Flyers move it back. Here's Giroux looking to the middle, throws it back across the shot. Raffl save, rebound, save, another shot by Giroux. Gets caught up in traffic in front, and now Stahl will move it ahead. Sekera holding on, and he'll roll it in, and Jordan Stahl is the first to it. Stahl behind the Philadelphia net. And recent trade rumors involving Jordan Stahl's name, but Ron Francis putting a kibosh to all that over the last couple of days. The general manager of the Canes saying he's going nowhere.
Almost laughed about it, but didn't quite laugh. And there's no question that Jordan Stahl will be staying here. And Claude Giroux on that new look line does a nice job on the rush here, finding Michael Raffl. And there's Wayne Simmons in his office, gets one whack at the rebound opportunity, and then Giroux followed the puck to the net and couldn't get that second one to it.
Well, the first shot on goal for the Flyers in that sequence. Ended up with their first two in that second one. The rebound effort by Simmons, an outstanding save by Cam Ward. Jake Voracek has it moving up. Matt Reed. Reed stops and throws it across ice off the stick of Ward to the corner boards. Diminutive one. Nathan Gerby has it there. His pass back toward the quarter. Now moved ahead by Hainsey. Flyers tried to knock it down, but Victor Rask finds it instead. To Belmore and into the Philadelphia zone. Nick Grossman hustles back to get to it. Played almost 4.5 minutes here in the first period. 7 shots on goal. 4 belong to Carolina. 3 for Philadelphia. The red line, Voracek has the puck knocked away by the veteran defenseman Andre Sekera, who's also been rumored to be headed elsewhere. And since he's in the final year of his contract, they're much more likely that he would get moved than Jordan Stahl. Braden Shen into the Carolina zone. Shoved off balance, and the Canes get the puck back, and they move up, and it's Sekera leading the charge. 3-on-2 to center. Sekera off on the right wing, and the shot up high goes wide from Riley Nash. Perhaps Sepp got a piece of that. Ryan White tried to move that ahead, and R.J. Umberger is there and just swing it through the neutral zone.
You can see why teams will be looking to add Andre Sekera there. He jumped up and added to the offensive pressure, driving the net, using that great skating ability, and the Hurricanes get their best shot of the period. Semuth with the shot off the side wall.
Icing the call there. As we look at the Ontario Canada game notes. Cam Ward, as we mentioned, his 500th career game. Just 1 regulation loss for the Flyers in 13 games. That covers well over a month. And the Carolina penalty kill has been outstanding. It is at the top of the NHL. It sets up a real good matchup with the 3rd-ranked power play that the Flyers have. Discover Ontario, our game notes.
Bill Peters saying he has 8 different players that he uses well shorthanded. All guys of a buy-in that he's very happy about. McClement, one of the best in the league at winning that opening face-off, and he battles against Giroux here and ends up losing it, and the Flyers get a prime scoring chance.
Ward with the save on Michael Raffl again. Raffl gets the puck right back for Philadelphia, pitches it into the Carolina zone. Giroux one-handing it behind the net. And there is Sekera again on the puck and moving it ahead, lunging for Jay McClement, but Claude Giroux will take over. And so the captain of the Flyers starts back. Goal and an assist on Sunday. Really played with jump. He fires this one in. Ward the save all the way out to the line. Nick Schultz will keep it in. And off Giroux's skate. And then the check on Gleason. And Simmons getting that puck to Giroux, but he could not get it back to the point. Elias Lindholm will charge up with it. Lindholm across ice and goes off of the skate. And Kyle Rodon, the defenseman, got it to Lindholm. And then Eric Stahl looking for it in the side of the net. He's all wrapped up with Nick Schultz. They sort of have each other tied up, but the penalty is going to go against Schultz. Holding will be the call, and it'll be the Carolina power play that gets the first opportunity here tonight. We'll be back.
Nick Schultz picks up the penalty, trying to defend against Eric Stahl, trying to sneak the arm in there and grab the stick. You can see 55 in white holding the stick of Eric Stahl. Referee from the neutral zone makes the call. It's the right one, and the Hurricanes get the first chance here on the power play.
KG veteran maneuver by Nick Schultz, but Chris Lee, the referee, was up to it. Lefebvre is our other referee here tonight. Greg Dvorsky, Matt McPherson handling the lines. So the Carolina power play goes to work. Rask will send it around behind the net and back out toward the point. Justin Falk kept it in once and then twice. Coburn from the net area to try to clear the zone. He could not get it out of the zone. Cross ice pass, the shot The save, rebound, poked right through the slot. And nobody home. Eric Staal gets it back out in front, looking for Tulosti, but it went off his stick out to the neutral zone. Good early chances for the Canes on this power play. Their power play 19th ranked, but it's been hot of late. The Flyers penalty kill 28th, but it's also been good of late. After a rough start, shot, Falk saves, Zepp, rebound, and unable to finish. It was Tulosti. It hit Zepp, who was actually looking to his side or actually behind him. And now in the slot area, it's Staal. Eric Staal for Lindholm. And they get set up again. Back out to the point. Last pass tipped, but makes its way to Lindholm, and across ice it comes to Falk. Back across it goes. Good puck movement by the Hurricanes. Rask, wrist shot, batted away by Zepp. Now it's Falk. Back across ice. Lindholm twisting and turning with it. And his pass off Reed, skate bounces to Falk for the blast, and he scores. Justin Falk ripping that one past Zepp. And the power play goal has the Canes on top 1-0.
Hurricanes get 3 quality scoring chances while on this power play, and then Justin Falk blasts away on a nice one-time feed after some good puck movement. It's Eric Staal involved in the play, and it's the one-timing ability of Justin Falk that blasted past the blocker side of Rob Zepp.
The Flyers have been so good lately, too, fellas, of making sure there's pressure on those power plays. That's why the killing number has gone up. This one here, though, Jones, as you said, great movement by Carolina through the whole power play. And they got the perfect shot at the end by with Justin Falk with a real howitzer right at the end right there that Zepp had no chance on.
5th power play goal of the year for Falk. Flyers in the last 3 games have been perfect on the kill, 10 for 10, but the Canes get an early power play goal here tonight. They've been operating at almost 30% of the Canes over their last 7 or 8 games with the man advantage. So the first one goes to the Hurricanes. Flyers try to get in the forecheck and respond. And they do come up with the puck. Belmar gets it out to Nick Schultz for a shot that went off of something and tipped out of play into the safety netting.
Take another look at the last goal by Justin Falk through the eyes of Rob Zepp. Zepp down there in the butterfly trying to get his shoulder on that puck. He had just blockered one out moments prior to that last attempt there, and then just couldn't get enough of it, and Justin Falk, the high rising shot, gets it to the top of the net and bar down.
Lots of tense moments before that, though, for Zepp. Good power play.
11th goal for Falk. He is the team leader in points, 37 of them now, one of 3 defensemen in the NHL to lead his team in points. No real surprises on the other 2 either. Keith Yandle and Erik Karlsson both leading their clubs in scoring. Here come the Canes again as Gleason throws the puck into the Philadelphia zone. Alexander Semin was involved in the neutral zone as he slowly makes his way to the Carolina bench, and play is stopped.
I think there was a penalty on the play, but it looks like R.J. Umberger's been rubbing his face there. The officials are having a conversation about it and checking R.J. out.
Trying to, they say that guy's having a look at R.J. right in front of me here to see if he's got any blood, and he's got some markups from previous games, but nothing here.
Looks like their referee is heading to the penalty box for some reason and is signaling towards Alexander Semin, so he will head to the box. The Flyers continue to be in the hunt for this year's playoffs. You can get a jump start on next year by calling now 215-218-PUCK to be a part of the action next year. And the action starts here as R.J. Umberger gets clipped in the head, and the Flyers head to the power play.
And so here's that matchup we alluded to earlier. 3rd-ranked power play, top-ranked penalty kill. And the Canes with a quick steal, and Jay McClement, who's one of their top penalty killers, sends it all the way down. High sticking on Semin at 8:34. There are those rankings. There's Giroux hitting straight with that pass, and so Voracek has to go back further and retrieve. Now Jake Voracek revving it up through center. Off the left wing, takes the return feed from Braden Shen. Run into the board. Shen will pitch the puck to the other side of the ice, and there's Giroux. Giroux fans on a pass. Gleason trying to clear, could not. Strike keeps it in all the way back across ice to Voracek. And now Giroux, as the Flyers get set up. Giroux, a quick shot, and Ward pins that one against his shoulder and hang right on.
Giroux showing a little frustration there. Scored the power play goal to start the scoring against the Washington Capitals, and when you fire from that side, you're relying heavily on your teammates and the traffic in front. Wayne Simmonds couldn't take the eyes away of Cam Ward on that one. He was able to handle it rather easily.
Hockey players being creature to habit, though, Jonesy. They will try that again after Drew scored just that same shot the other day against the Capitals.
As we look at the McDonald's power play payoff contestant, Flyers get their first man advantage of the game. Reed sending it up the wall. Andrew McDonald over. Second unit out for the Flyers on this power play. Reed spun around, lost the puck. Sekera jumps on it and lugs to center ice and then just slips it into the Philadelphia zone. As the Flyers down to 55 seconds remaining on this man advantage. Reed up the right wing. Has to get around Sekera. Behind the net. Couturier was checked. Ruby is there. It was clear, actually hit Riley Nash. Nash able to send it off of McDonald's stick to the neutral zone. Stick was not too high, so play carries on. We hit the midpoint of this first period. Canes with the 1-0 lead. Flyers with 32 seconds of power play time remaining. Giroux back ice. Sifts his way in. It gets to Simmonds, who backhands one in on Ward. Easy save, and the puck cleared all the way down. Flyers really making plays quickly on this power play. Usually one of the hallmarks of their man advantage unit is its patience, but it's quite possible they've heard that this Carolina team is very aggressive on the penalty kill, and you don't have as much time to make plays. Try to clear here. The Canes, they get it out to center ice. Streit is there. Back across, and Giroux will rifle it in as the power play comes to an end. Ward having some difficulty, gives it up to Simmonds, who sent it for Giroux, but it's tipped away. And back the other way go the Canes. It develops into a 3-on-2. Fire up the right wing is past the shot. Seven, big save, Zepp. Seven can fire it with anyone, and Zepp turned it aside. Now that shot locked in front, pokes, and it does make its way out to the neutral zone. Simmonds after it there. He gets all wrapped up with a hurricane. They both go to the ice. It's Eric Stahl rolling back the other way. The angle shot goes wide and all the way out to the line and past Falk. Will then just chip it across ice. Sekera has to go back and get it. And he'll give to Falk. Stretch pass out in center ice. He's got Eric Stahl. Stahl spins, lost the puck. Flyers get it back. And it's set ahead. Back Ronaldo. Turning with it, trying to get the puck to Vandevelde, but it was batted down. Behind the net now, Belmont. He was unable to come up with it. It's Jordan Stahl. Into Lindholm. His pass tipped away, but does bounce out to the neutral zone. 11-7 the shots in favor of Carolina in the first 11.5 minutes and change of this one. Nick Schultz, rink wide feed. Couturier in across the line. Turns with it and then just shuffles it along behind the net. Flyers making changes to their D pair. The puck jabbed out into the slot. Flyers track it down. Reed. Behind the net. It's tipped away from both Voracek and Couturier, and the Canes move back with it. Rizzalusti, another guy on the trade block. They get the puck into the Philadelphia zone. Hits the referee's skate. Flyers find it. But then their outlets hit a teammate in the back of the skate. McDonald able to recover. And then the Flyers chip it into the Carolina zone. It's picked up there by Victor Rask, 21 years of age. They're very high on Angie center iceman. Puck tipped down in on Zepp, and he'll just hold it aside for Braden Coburn. Up the wall for Ryan White. White is overtaken by Riley Nash. Canes playing with a lot of purpose here early on.
They are. They've been very good on the rush as well. The Flyers are going to have to be real careful. Carolina's had some A-quality chances on turnovers.
And they get another one possibly here. Skinner, though, had the puck roll off his stick. He will drop it back, and that shot batted away by Zepp as Jordan could not beat the goaltender. Flyers get to it, though, and now Schenn out into the neutral zone. I mean, you're away from snowy Raleigh, North Carolina. One of the reasons you see so many empty seats here, really holding the crowd down. The road is very icy. We're not used to a lot of snow in these parts.
Nope, and there was a lot of it.
Yeah.
Slippery roads out there.
They had a real problem Saturday, guys. I can assure you that. The drivers, if they had that driving in this today, wow.
That would have been interesting.
It's pretty much a whole shutdown here.
Puck sent all the way down here. Icing is the call. .634 to play here in period number one.
Hurricanes up 1-0. There's Justin Falk having a little sip of water on the bench. Well-deserved sip. He's been outstanding to start this game defensively while shorthanded. Contact against Matt Reed separates Couturier from the puck. A nice outlet pass, a bank pass right to the tape of Eric Stahl. And picked up the power play goal here in a one-time blast, giving the Canes the 1-goal lead. that they sit with right now. And Justin Faulk continues to grow as one of the more outstanding young defensemen in the National Hockey League.
22 years of age. Will Peters saying has momentary lapses still, but you expect that from the young defenseman. But overall, said he's projecting to be right where they expected he would be, one of the top defensemen in the league when all is said and done. Here's Gerby across the Philadelphia line. Tried to center. It's blocked aside by Reed. Got back by Tulowitzki. Got it to the side, and that Zepp decides to cover up. Check out the CSN Philly mobile app. Get breaking news and analysis from insiders, plus video, scores, schedules, and more. Visit csnphilly.com/app. Download today.
Bill Peters comes out with his top line here for the offensive zone face-off, and Claude Giroux for the Flyers will go head-to-head once again with Jordan Staal on the draw. And Faulk jumps back out there on the point. Big draw for Philly here.
And the Hurricanes win it. Kara sends it in along the wall. Lindholm chopped at it, but it wound up taken by Coburn. Head to Simmons and out of the zone. Faulk back over to get to it. And now Jordan Staal for Sekera. And the Buffalo Sabre. Giroux knocked down his clearing attempt, but it ricochets. And Lindholm will send it in. Coburn is back. Up the wall. Michael Raffl pinned there. Aggressive defense on the forecheck and along those walls from the Hurricanes. That's something that Craig Berube was expecting from this team. Raffl back again in his zone. Barreled into. Knocked to his knees. Puck squirts to the circle. Lindholm a shot blocked. Second try. Saves Zepp. Simmons a bit of hesitation, and he lost the puck. Lindholm to Jordan Staal. Staal backhanding one to his brother Eric. Back in front. Backed out of there by Del Zotto, but not out of the zone. Faulk giving it to Sekera. And his shot there knocked down by Del Zotto, who crumpled to the ice after it hit him. He's staying out on the ice. A little gimpy. A centering pass block. And he's moving behind the net. And there's Eric Staal. Staal looking for a play out in front. As his pass tipped. Bounces to Lindholm and then back to Faulk as they continue to control. A little wrist shot block and a chance for Simmons again to clear, and he did not get it done. Sekera keeps it in. His shot though misses high and wide. Outstanding shift here from the Hurricanes as they have the Flyers fit in their zone, and now the Canes pull back on a line change to the Flyers and move it up, and Giroux redirects in. Canes are back and the Flyers try to get the forechecking game going. Zach Rinaldo after Bellemare, and Bellemare tipping the puck. There, Edward Bellemare, checked by Nash. Larry Nash then worked on by Van de Velde. Van de Velde had it tipped away. Grossman could not keep it in. And the Flyers have to hustle back. It's Rinaldo who gets back to get the puck, and he'll send it in to the Hurricane zone, but from his side of the red line, and so offside, or I should say icing, is called.
Well, you can spend your afternoon at the annual Flyers Wives Carnival this Sunday. Early bird admission starts at 1:30 and general admission at 3. Get your tickets now at PhiladelphiaFlyers.com/carnival and come out and join the Flyers for a great cause and a great opportunity to meet some of your favorite players and head coach Craig Berube.
Players always like to be on a roll when the carnival rolls around, so you have a lot of good things to talk about with the fans. We'll see if that's the case. Flyers 3 more games before the carnival, this one, and then in Toronto Thursday, and then Saturday night the Rangers in Philadelphia for Saturday evening game on NBC. Ron Hainsey backhanding this one, blocked off by Andrew McDonald, but again the Canes keep the puck in the zone. Canes doing an outstanding job of causing turnovers from the Flyers and pinning them in the defensive zone. Talking from the Flyers perspective, back go the Canes to get the puck. And off of McClement's stick deep into the Philadelphia zone again.
And Craig Berube, as you alluded to, Jimmy, talked a lot about that. The Hurricanes' pressure, that he wanted to make sure his team was in good position to support. And right now the Flyers too spread out in the defensive zone, and that's playing right into the hands of the Carolina Hurricanes.
Luke Schultz back to get this puck. And White gets it back, and Flyers try to move up. Braden Shen couldn't handle that pass. Umberger will steer it in to the Carolina zone. The Canes go back to get it. Jordan has it. Jordan playing because John Michael Lyles was a late scratch. The right wing feed to Tulowitzki. His shot blocked by Del Zotto, and it goes out of play. Just over 3 minutes remaining in period number 1. Canes have the 1-0 lead.
Back to Raleigh. Kind of look right there at Jordan Staal. He is tonight's Chevy player profile. An important player for this hockey team, no doubt. Injured early in the year, guys, with a knee injury, I believe, early. The miss sidelined him for half the year. since he's been back, he's been very, very good for this Carolina team. Possesses a lot of size. He skates well. He gets pucks to the front of the net, and he works well with his brother. You can see what his record, too, with and without him in the lineup at the bottom of that of the profile. And you know what? That speaks volumes right there, how a team performs with somebody in. That's Jordan Staal for tonight's Chevy Player Profile.
Bill Peters, he's a big reason why the team's record is what it is since the turn of the year. That's right about when Jordan Staal made his return. So while he hasn't produced a whole lot offensively, he's meant a lot to the penalty kill and just to the overall team game. Shot there by Sean Couturier off a stick and out of play. That broken leg that he suffered. You remember that in the early part of training camp, and obviously set this team back.
Had trained extremely hard in the offseason too, using Nathan Gerby's fitness guy, and had come into camp in great shape and worked extremely hard after breaking his leg to get back in the lineup. Returned a little bit earlier than expected, and there's no question that he's had a major impact on Carolina's stronger play since January 1st.
2:52 remaining in this first period. Canes have now outshot the Flyers 13-7. The only goal. But makes its way to Ward, and he'll move it ahead, and then Gerby out of the zone. Michael Del Zotto races back to get to it. Flips it up off a stick and down the ice. And Bellemore will go back to get it. But Ron Hainsey played more games than any active player without performing in a playoff game in his career. Quality player, too. He just hasn't been in the right spot at the right time. Flyers dig this puck loose, and it's fired wide of the net by Reed. In comes Voracek. Jake Voracek, stutter step, moving around behind the net. Out the other side, and then his pass into the middle. Grossman looking for room. Shot, he scores! Nick Grossman gets the feed from Voracek. Beats Ward and ties the game at 1. Nick Grossman's 4th goal of the year. That is a career high for the stay-at-home defenseman. He scores for a case of Tasty Cake.
And it's all about the puck protection by Jake Voracek in his office down behind the Carolina Hurricanes goal line. You can see him work that puck, block it out with his body there, and alertly slide the puck right through the seam where Grossman can jump in and bury it.
What a great play by Voracek, too. That just protecting the puck all the way behind the net. He just separates a man from the puck and slides a nice pass into Grossman. Grossman's had another goal, guys. Remember, this year was a snipe goal, too. I believe he hits the Rangers. What a shot this was, though, by Nick Grossman. Get this thing started for Philadelphia.
Can't stop Nick Grossman. We can only hope to contain him.
Scored 2 beauties on snipe shots, too.
Jordan Staal roaring up numbers for the Canes. In the middle of the shot, deflected, and Falk could not get that goal as Schultz got in his way. Now they centered Eric Staal, sent it through the paint. Good response from the Canes. Now the Flyers with numbers. 3-on-2 through center. Giroux with the puck. Cuts to the middle, and his pass ricocheting off of sticks and skates. Finally injected out to the neutral zone. 1:40 to play here in the first period. We're tied at 1. The territorial edge the Canes have had here in the first period, the Flyers would take being even after the first 20 minutes, but they're not there yet. 1:27 to go.
No, Flyers sloppy right after getting things tied up there after the Grossman goal, and Carolina comes rushing back down the ice. Another 3-on-1 opportunity, and Nick Schultz helped bail out his teammates.
Grossman back to get the puck here. Pass ahead off of Van de Velde. And move it ahead. Leeson will play for Carolina, looking for Alexander Seven. Just rip that into the Philadelphia zone. Grossman back, actually hits Nash with his pass attempt. As we head into the final minute of this first period. Flyers have it now as they'll move through center ice. Andrew McDonald scooping one, but the Flyers beat the puck into the zone, and offside is called. Let's look at our Jeep trivia question for tonight's game. Who holds the Carolina franchise record for career penalty minutes? Kevin Dineen, Torrey Robertson, or Pat Verbeek? All knew the way to the penalty box, but one of them did it more than anybody else for this Carolina franchise.
A couple of those guys could score some goals, too.
That is very true.
Big time.
2 of them at least, I knew, yeah, for sure.
R.J. Umberger will chop this one down the ice. White going after it. Don tried to seal White off of that punt. Did a good job. McClement is checked. That puck just dribbling across ice, but it makes its way to Gleason and then ahead. This is to Jay McClement. McClement check, following up the play though. Brad Malone made it around behind the net. Center into the shot. McClement. It did not go. Oh, it was kept out by the player behind Zepp. The Canes still have it, though. Here's a shot. Malone, and that's gloved by Zepp. He'll hang on. The Canes that close. They're getting a late first period goal and going back on top.
Looked like a wide open net there. And Zepp managed to slide across and get some help from Michael Del Zotto, who gets there and scoops that puck up. But Rob Zepp makes an outstanding save going post to post. There was an empty side there. He kind of threw his stick at it but kept it out.
It hit his outside pad, the inside of his pad where his skate is. You'll see it right there at the back behind the his back leg ended up catching the puck. That's why it stayed there. What a save.
He got it done, as has been the case in these last 2 or 3 games for Zepp. The quality and timing of his saves have been so important for this team, and that was a huge one. Nick Grossman gets the goal for the Flyers to tie it at 1. Rob Zepp, along with help from Michael Del Zotto, keeps it tied with 20 minutes now in the books. We welcome back audience from NBC Sports Network. And the Flyers try to take the lead here. Simmons flipping that one in, and Giroux getting his stick on it. Cam Ward is able to get in the way. 1-1 game here early in the second period as Wayne Simmons behind the net looking for Raffl. He was tied up. So Giroux after. Raffl now takes over in the corner. Right back to Giroux. Around behind center. Del Zotto the shot, and that one takes off and finds glass. Raffl checked, but got that puck back for Coburn. Slight hesitation there, but he got it in along for Simmons. So the Flyers with some puck possession here to start the second period. And the top line goes to work. Canes do get it away from them now, and will move up. The right wing feed is for Lindholm. Lindholm waiting, and the play is called on an offside.
Turnovers were a factor in the first period, giving the Carolina Hurricanes plenty of offensive opportunities. They end up with 15 shots on goal in the first period. And Craig Berube talked a lot about support. And when pucks are turned over, the Flyers did a better job in the latter part of the period in getting there and being in a good defensive position to keep the Hurricanes away from the net. But the first 10 minutes or so, it was all Carolina, and most of their opportunities came on Flyer turnovers.
Mark Streit will send that puck off the stick of Jake Voracek deep into the Carolina zone. Gleason along the boards, able to maneuver around Matt Reed. Couturier comes over, gets a piece of the puck. Voracek arriving in the scene as well, but instead it's Victor Rask to the neutral zone. Cross ice, and Gerby will tuck it deep into the Philadelphia zone. Nick Schultz wins the race for the puck, and a nice outlet. The Flyers will move up. Reed off the skate and then stick of Streit. And it's taken right back by Gleason. The Hurricanes it through center. Here's Jiri Tlusty. Tlusty holding on, swings wide, centered it, goes past Ryan White all the way out toward the point. Braden Shen is there. We go back, rink wide. Schultz without a stick, so he'll use his gloves to bat it into the Carolina zone. As the Flyers and Canes are making player changes. That Belmore stepped into by Braden Shen. Now here's Rask. And he'll bounce one to the right of Zepp. Header McDonald goes to it. He's swarmed upon by a couple of Canes. Did maneuver it ahead, and R.J. Umberger able to clear the zone. The Canes are back on it. Long pass across for Alexander Semin. Quick wrist shot. Brought off by Zepp. And then going out to the neutral zone. One more check there. Ronaldo after him, but Belmore able to get it ahead to Semin. Alexander Semin again. This time the pass, the shot, and they score! Jeff Skinner off the rush. Takes the feed from Semin. And puts the Canes back on top, 2-1.
Semin hasn't been great all year, but he's been very good in this game. And he had 3 shots on goal already, and this time he picks off another Flyer turnover, and back he goes the other way and makes a tremendous pass. You can see him glove it down, and then look at him make space and fire it cross ice right to the tape of Jeff Skinner, and he continues to own the Flyers.
Jonesy took the words right out of my mouth. I think Semin's actually been the best Hurricane on the ice tonight. You have a look at Craig Berube's reaction, thinking to himself, man, we can't give away. They didn't give away these shorthanded or these odd man rushes all weekend, and here Carolina gets one just on the odd man rush. A little frustration.
He's looking for more. An angle shot there goes wide. And all the way out to center ice. And firing away. The Canes their second lead of the game. It requires pass knocked down. Del Zotto will shovel the puck deep into the Hurricane zone. Ronaldo is there, centered it. Carolina had things covered. Skinner's 15th of the year, and he has been red hot. 5 goals in his last 7 games. And he is one of those players, Jonesy, that he gets his confidence, his game goes up astronomically in terms of the quality of play.
Yeah, and he starts going to the high traffic areas again too, and that's certainly going to help him as far as the goal scoring goes. I think some of that confidence comes from getting back and being healthy, and there's no question that can play into a player's confidence.
And it's true, all players better obviously with confidence, but I think in his case in particular, you notice the difference. That lead pass just missing. Claude Giroux. Jordan Staal fired it across ice. It bounces around. Raffl able to jab it to Giroux, and then right back to Raffl for the shot, and it's blocked by Falk, and out of play it goes.
Carolina, no problem here putting the Staal brothers out against Giroux's line and Simmons all night here. They've not swayed from that at all. So matchup-wise, Bill Peters told us before, it's been more of a problem having Giroux and Voracek broken up, but at the same time, he'll treat Giroux like the first line and play his best players against them.
Couturier will take this draw for the Flyers. Victor Rask for the Canes. Canes win that one. Flyers dominated the draws in the first period, led by Claude Giroux, who took 7 of his 8 face-offs, and he continues his outstanding season on the draws. Rask dumps this back. Sekera across to Falk. And now he'll move the puck ahead to Rask. And across the line. This shot, and Zepp handles that one from Gerby. And he'll take the whistle.
Well, you can catch South Jersey's own Johnny Gaudreau when he returns next Tuesday with the Calgary Flames. For $55, you can enjoy a ticket to the game, a Dietz & Watson hot dog, and a 24-ounce beverage with the Bud Light Tuesday night pack. Great chance to watch Johnny Hockey.
Johnny Hockey. He's had a great rookie year. But how about Forsberg? Was it 6 straight games and goals now for Philip Forsberg? And
scary. And some shootout goals along the way as well. A real dandy against the Buffalo Sabres.
I was really impressed with him the other day. Great player.
It's a real good rookie class. When you talk about Ekblad and Forsberg and Gaudreau and others too. Here is Del Zotto with a pass that goes off. Carolina sticking all the way down the ice, so no icing. Ward will get to Bellemare. Ahead, Del Zotto steps up in the play, knocked the puck away, kept it in not once but twice, and the Flyers do move it along the boards, but Umberger could not get it past Riley Nash. And now the Canes have it. Bellemare for Semin. Enigmatic one can be so good and then can disappear. As we mentioned, he's playing very well in this game. Canes wish they'd see more of this Alexander Semin this season.
And if you're not physical against him, he can show up. And the Flyers have not been tough enough against Semin, giving him plenty of reason to show up in this game. And it's been rather easy for him as he's generated a ton of offensive opportunities for the Hurricanes, who have 18 shots on goal, and we're only 5 minutes into the second period.
You've got to get body on Alexander Semin. You're right, Jonesy. If you let him play with skill and speed out here, he's going to hurt you. That's when he flourishes out on the ice. The Flyers get a couple good whacks on him here and try to neutralize Semin, because in a game like this where it's open, he can kill you with his skill.
He's a free agent back in July of 2012. $7 million cap hit through 2018. He has 2 goals this year.
Yeah. So that kind of tells it all, doesn't it?
It really does.
And work ethic has been questioned throughout, not just from people observing, but from his own teammates and coaches.
Vanderbilt breaks his stick blocking that shot by Gleason, but the Flyers get the puck. Ronaldo bouncing it across ice. Bellemare has it. Edward Bellemare burst of speed to the backhand. Save Ward. Rebound. And Ward is able to pin it with his glove up against the side of the net.
But this is what Alexander Semin can do when he's on his game. And we've had great examples of it here tonight. Beautiful one-time blast right there that Rob Zepp made a great save. And there's a defensive play from Alexander Semin. There's a quick shot to the net that creates a rebound. And here's an awesome pass through the seam right on the tape of Jeff Skinner's stick. A little hug for Skinner, and both players, Skinner and Semin, very noticeable here again for the Hurricanes.
A frustrated coach to no end playing like Alexander Semin.
Flyers win this draw. Coburn, a pass, but Giroux was well guarded there by Jordan Staal. Now Staal. Nifty maneuvering to move it up. Elias Lindholm will flutter one deep into the Philadelphia zone. Zepp jabs it to the corner boards. Up high in the air, Giroux able to swat it ahead for Michael Raffl. Raffl playing it past Falk and then trying to get there. Falk able to get back, showing great ability to recover there. And now the scrum in the corner. Wayne Simmons joins in. Giroux tried to get it back to Del Zotto, but Jordan Staal got in the way of that. Simmons continues to scramble for the puck. Raffles in there as well. Hard work along the wall here, and the Flyers do win the battle. They move the puck to the other side of the ice. Coburn in from the point, but Eric Staal kept it away from him. He got it to Sekera. Now Falk right back to Sekera. The right wing feed here for Lindholm, too far out in front of him, and the play is offside at the Philadelphia line. We're going to step aside. 13:40 remaining in the second. The Hurricanes again by 1. Canes 2, Flyers 1 as the Flyers, another very important game. It wasn't all that long ago, just before the All-Star break, when the Flyers were pretty much an afterthought in terms of the playoff race in the East. 13 points out on January the 16th, within 4 as play starts tonight. And they have had some of their huge players come up with big years. Jake Voracek now with a point tonight, tied the league scoring leadership. Wayne Simmons, especially on the power play, has been dangerous, but 24 goals, long point streak. And Claude Giroux leading the NHL in points with the man advantage. So you have Voracek, Simmons, and Giroux having outstanding seasons, and then a lot of other players stepping up as the season's gone along, and it's added up to quite a rush here, and obviously been helped along by the problems of the Boston Bruins, but the Flyers have earned their way back into the race.
Yeah, the tough part is they've given some points away in the last week or so against teams like Columbus, like the Buffalo Sabres, and now they're down by 1 against the Carolina Hurricanes team that's in trade mode, not playoff mode.
A shot that goes off a leg and wide. We'll take this opportunity to show you scores from out of town, upper right-hand corner of your screen. This last 4 games for the Flyers, a case in point of what you were talking about. The regulation loss to Columbus, shootout loss against Buffalo, and then wins over teams that you just wouldn't think that they'd be beating after losing to teams like that. We're talking about the team with the most points in the league in Nashville, and Washington has been playing so well.
Yeah, with your third-string goaltender in net. And Rob Zepp finds a way to get 2 wins over the weekend, and now Jake Voracek heads over to the penalty box, and Carolina heads to the power play. A high stick right there by Jake Voracek trying to go past Nathan Gerby. It was accidental, but it's a penalty nonetheless, and the Hurricanes try to extend their lead.
Yeah, it wasn't really involved with the play. There's a deflection, and Zepp makes the save. There's that one hit off of a Flyer, I believe, on the way in, but Zepp able to hold his ground and keep the Flyers within 1.
The toughest ones when the guy at the point, in this case Falk, he looked like he was going to use his partner, pass it, instead he shoots it in the direction of the net. It's a tough play because nobody's prepared for it, including the goalie.
Hurricanes use Victor Rask on the point here as well. He'll head in and take the face-off after Eric Staal got kicked out. Lindholm moves back, and 4 Hurricane forwards on the ice, and the Flyers may try to take advantage of that with a short-handed opportunity.
Giroux just trying to bat this puck ahead, and he did to himself. Coburn's joining, 2-on-1 developing, although Rask is getting back. Giroux will hold on, spin, and then look for and almost found Bellemare, but Bellemare has to play it off the boards, and he'll get it back out to Del Zotto, and the Flyers will waste some time off of the Carolina power play before he hammers it down the ice. The Carolina power play that is operating at over 21% here at PNC Arena. Big difference between their home power play and their road power play. Here's a turnover. Bellemare with the steal and the shot and the save by Ward. He closed that down with ease. Bellemare and Vandevelde have turned into quite a duo for the Flyers on the penalty kill. They're doing a great job here. Bellemare gets it back to Vandevelde. Hurricanes finally just rough him up to get the puck away from him. They move up ice. There's Lindholm trying to center. It's tipped away, but gotten back now. Eric Staal gets it to the other side of the ice. Paluski chasing. Vandevelde over after it. He got it ahead to Couturier. Sean Couturier all by himself moving up here. He'll turn back, see if somebody's coming behind him, but he lost the puck while he was waiting, and the Canes get it back. 37 seconds remaining on the power play. Swooping on in is Jordan Staal for the shot. Except to say the rebound. That was kept to the outside by Coburn. Zotto battling in the corner of the puck up the wall. Canes are on it. Sekera moving to the middle. To Nash, and then back to Sekera. Passing the high slot. Skinner. That shot saves that through traffic. And then Reed able to clear the zone. Bob Zepp is a battler. You know, a lot of times where he's screened or has traffic around him, he's able to find that puck somehow.
And there's rebounds around him as well. And the Hurricanes just keep firing pucks towards him. Some of them have bounced off his glove or pad, and there's been some Flyer help around, but he does not give up on the play.
No rebound there as he grabs that puck. Tonight at 11, we'll look back at the incredible career of Eric Desjardins, who took his place in the Flyers Hall of Fame. It's Thursday. We'll also meet Nick Cousins, a 21-year-old center having a breakout season for the Phantoms. Watch the Orange Line presented by Bradford Whitewater Heaters, Comcast Sportsnet. Canes win this draw. Belmore will send it around into the quarter. They're trying to keep Belmore away from it. Bounces back to McClennan. Joe McClennan fighting off Braden Shen, changing direction. And to find Nick Schultz right there. Schultz takes the puck away, swats it up the wall, but over is Belmore to try to keep it in, and he does. And back to full strength as they're trailing 2-1 here as we approach the midpoint of regulation time. Glad you could join us on Comcast Sportsnet as well as NBC Sports Network. And the Flyers intercept the puck here, and Streit will move it ahead. Got Umberger, and R.J. Umberger will just dump one deep. Ryan White wins the race for the puck, as he so often does on the forecheck. Braden Shen takes the puck. Shen around behind the net. Out the other side. Back to Grossman. Grossman's shot blocked out high. It bounces behind the cage. Jab to the corner. Braden Shen back to Grossman again. Couldn't get that shot through, and now it bounces high in the air. Umberger take it to the boards. Braden Shen is there. Back out to Grossman. Waiting, a little wrister, and he could not get it through. A lot of blocked shots in that sequence for the Hurricanes, and Patrick Dwyer will clear it into the Philadelphia zone.
Some good offensive zone pressure there for the Flyers, but Carolina in good position, patiently sitting and shooting and passing lanes and able to keep the Flyers to the outside.
Giroux trying to dance his way into the Hurricane zone, but he ran into too much congestion there. Does poke the puck free here, though, to Raffl, who tried to get it back to Giroux, but Giroux unable to control on the boards. And Eric Staal drops it back to his brother, Jordan. Scooping on in, holds on, waits, goes back across ice, could not be handled by Lindholm. Raffl will backhand at, hoping for Simmons. Simmons tried to play it past Gleason, but could not. Jordan Staal gets to Eric, and he finds Sekera dancing through center for a shot that's blocked off by Giroux. It rolls towards Zepp, but he's able to cover up before the Canes can get to it. 9 minutes remaining, period number 2.
Welcome back. We have a look at Jake Voracek. Jake Voracek's recipient of this quote here. Geico quote of the game by Michael Del Zotto. And you know what? I think he's absolutely right. This is a situation end of the game. What an unbelievable job here by Voracek to Del Zotto.
Yeah, he protects the puck so well, kind of passes it to himself off the boards, and Del Zotto ends up with a game-winning goal in the third period. Tonight we see another example of Voracek protecting the puck. This time on the backhand, it's a perfect pass to Grossman, and the Flyers have their only goal this game on the back of some good, strong play from Jake Voracek again.
Both things he did there was protect the puck with his body. And that's why Jake Voracek's had such a successful year.
He knows what to do with the puck, too. He found open men, and Flyer defense have been involved a lot, as we mentioned earlier, in the offense for this Philadelphia team of late. For the last 16 games, the Flyers have received a goal from a defenseman. At one point, I think they had 8 straight games with a goal from the Blue Liners. That puck goes out of play. And we're going to face off in the neutral zone.
Let's have a look at our Wells Fargo great check of the game. And you know, this one here, guys, shows you don't have to necessarily run someone through the boards. Right here, what a great play by Staal. Just separates the man from the puck, being the Nick Schultz. He gets the puck, good possession, gets it right back around the net to Lindholm. That is the Wells Fargo great check of the game. You know what? Perfectly played defensive checking situation by Jordan Staal in that scenario. Really good.
Hurricanes able to control off the neutral zone draw. Dumped in by Riley Nash. Puck up. Turnover by the Flyers. Hainsey's shot, and it's blocked. Ronaldo getting in the way, and then now darting out into center. And one-handing the puck into the Carolina zone. Belmore wipes out as he goes after the puck. Ronaldo centers it for the shot, and Ward accepts that one from Belmar and is able to hang on.
Good hustle there by Zach Ronaldo. He took a punch in the face against the Washington Capitals for his team out of the box and kept his discipline. Here he blocks the shot in the shooting lane there, and good hustle up the ice. He does a terrific job in keeping his feet moving and getting some pressure in the zone, and then fires a nice pass across the ice there, and the take to Belmar, and a quick shot ends up with the fourth line getting a scoring chance.
You never know what shot you block is going to save a goal for your team, and everybody does it so well in the National Hockey League today. But you have to have the bravery to go in front of those shots, and Ronaldo did right here in this situation. He's had a pretty good game. All he needs to do is go up and down the ice, get some checks, forecheck, and block a good shot like that when he can.
So Giroux getting ready for this face-off to the left of Cam Ward. And he wins the draw. Back to Braden Coburn. Little wrist shot, hit a body in front. Giroux looking for the carom, but it's played out at least to the blue line by Carolina. Sent back deep by Del Zotto. Ward to Sekera. He'll pop that one out to center ice. Coburn could not come up with it. And home cross ice pass for Jordan Staal. Staal to the point, Falk, his shot blocked. And it is Giroux who comes up with it. Looks for Raffl, but he was marked. Following up the play here is Del Zotto, tripped up, penalty. And the Flyers will get a power play. And have a chance to tie this game back up.
Looks like Jordan Staal's going to head to the box here. They tripped through the neutral zone right there on Giroux. Knocked down Jordan Staal. The puck slid to Michael Del Zotto, and while down on the ice, you see the trip by Staal.
Wednesday night means rivalry night in the NHL. So tomorrow night, you get to see a great rivalry, one of the best in all of sport. The Penguins and the Capitals from Washington. Sidney Crosby, Alexander Ovechkin. The personal rivalry and the team rivalry is not bad at all. Flyers have the puck here, trying to tie this game back up. Voracek down behind the net to Simmons. And now it's Giroux. Giroux always surveying. It's a back out to Streit. Now across for Voracek. Center point, Streit. And now Giroux. More patience shown here. And Giroux did try to force a shot through that was blocked. More of that tonight than we've seen recently from this Flyer power play. They do a good job of recovering the puck here, though. Here's Streit. Holding on and goes back to Voracek. Voracek sent it in front. Schenn a shot, and it was blocked and dribbled wide. Braden Schenn shoved to the boards, and the Hurricanes cleared all the way down. There's your McDonald's power play payoff contestant. As this power play hits its midpoint. Streit to Couturier. Second unit out now. Couturier dancing his way in. Nash meets him in the corner. And again, good job by the Flyers of getting the puck. It's Reed back to Del Zotto. He'll wind, he'll fire. Save Ward, and he's got it. R.J. Umberger waiting for the puck to pop free, but Ward was able to melt it down.
Not sure if Umberger got a piece of that shot or not. Umberger doing a good job of screening in front, and Del Zotto takes the ice that's afforded him. He jumps in, slap shot there through the legs of Umberger, and Ward somehow hangs onto it.
Yeah, great play here by Del Zotto. Got his feet moving, had his head up towards the net, and that shot went through Umberger in perfect positioning. Ward makes a good save on the initial shot to prevent that puck from falling in front of him, and RJ having a second whack at it.
Couturier kicks this puck to Reed, and the Flyers a little more power play offensive zone time. Del Zotto drops it along the boards. Reed is cruising to the slot as Couturier gets it back to Del Zotto. Couturier wrist shot, save Ward, and he's able to clamp down on the puck as Umberger was chopping away.
That's the right play by Couturier there. Two bodies in front. Matt Reed and R.J. Umberger both alone in front of the Carolina Hurricanes net. There they are, 24 and 18, to snap it through and look for a rebound. Cam Ward does a terrific job of swallowing it up and making sure nobody can get to it.
Yeah, that's a perfect play again. Right with those two guys in front of the net, that's where you're looking at, Jonesy. Open men and outmanning Carolina. The Flyers did that.
Flyers again win the draw. 20 seconds on the power play. Del Zotto back out. Streit a shot, and that one went wide. Giroux takes the puck. Giroux trying to go cross ice. That's intercepted. McClement with the steal, and then he'll just pump it in to Philadelphia ice. And the Flyers' power play is over. The Canes' top-ranked penalty kill has fought off the Flyers' third-ranked power play twice now here tonight. 5:31 to go in the second. Remains 2-1 Carolina.
Take a look now at our Independence Blue Cross fearless play. It involves Michael Del Zotto. Going back to the first period, blocks his shot here from Andrej Sekera. Off the ankle. Standing in front, as we say, guys block shots, especially this time of year. I'll tell you what, Del Zotto's had a heck of a hockey game after that too, guys. He's jumped in. He's been aggressive offensively when he's had to. Not overly aggressive, getting himself in trouble, but he's had a very fine game. And a heck of a block shot.
He's an underrated shot blocker. He's second on the team in block shots. Here's a shot for the Flyers, and Bellemare stopped by Cam Ward, who flashes some leather.
Craig Berube goes back to double shifting Jake Voracek out here with Van de Velde and Bellemare, and it was that combination that was on the ice for the winning goal against the Washington Capitals. It's an option for the head coach of the Flyers to go to, and he will, especially at key times, and this was a key offensive zone faceoff win.
Trying to do it again.
Voracek is so strong on the puck. That's why he has possession so often in these hockey games.
Canes get to the puck, upended for Jordan, and a penalty coming up against Philadelphia. They're just trying to scramble to get to a loose puck, but Frederic Lecuyer found a penalty there, and so the Flyers will be shorthanded.
Chris Van de Velde working his way over to the penalty box off the offensive zone face-off. Van de Velde jumping through there and then tripped up. Jordan, who was jumping through, he was kind of tied up Van de Velde with Gleason at the time. There's the trip, and this is a huge part of this game right now.
Third power play for Carolina. They've scored with one of their first two. Trying to build a 2-goal cushion. They win the draw. Rask. Now they set it to Stahl for the shot, and Eric denied by Zepp again through traffic. The Flyers fail to clear, and the Canes crash after it. Tulosti to Rask, and Giroux got that puck across ice. Bellemare will shovel it as far as Falk, who knocked it down, they say, with a stick that was at a legal level. Now Eric Stahl after it. Bumped in the corner. Try to get it back to the point. Flyers get the puck. Kept in momentarily by Rask, but now carried out to center by Giroux. And the captain will circle back and from his own blue line hoist it all the way down. Kicked down to 4.5 remaining in this second period. By the time the Canes get back across center ice, we're just about halfway through this power play. Is there very deliberate here. Falk moves it up and drops it back for Skinner. A little Rask, from left wing Jordan Stahl. And now Rask to the point, Falk, and they are set up. His pass down, the redirected by 7 saves. Zep rebound, Jordan Stahl. He scores. Jonesy had said there have been some rebounds, and there was one just sitting there for Stahl. And he beats Zep. It's 3-1 Carolina. They have 2 power play goals on the night.
Big reason for the rebound there was Falk's shot was deflected by Alexander Semin, who's out front of the net. Does a nice job on tipping it. There's Falk just firing it through. Kind of a shot pass is what that looked like to me, and there's Stahl to get there and get that rebound after the redirection by Semin along the way.
Yeah, you can tell. I saw when Falk had the puck, Jones. It looked more like a pass, and as you can see, it probably was. As one of the Stahl brothers was hanging out right in front of the net. It was, and then Jordan swoops in for the rebound. So, real heads-up play by Justin Falk.
4th of the year for Jordan Stahl in his 23rd game of the season. Semin and Falk will get the assist. Here come the Canes again. Try to center it. That one winds up behind the net. Andrew McDonald putting it down, but 2 red jerseys knocked the puck away from him. Patrick Dwyer in the corner. Gets it back out. Falk firing one that went off the back of the leg of Braden Chen. And Brad Malone in the corner. And the Canes get a goal, and they're pressing again. Flyers now get the puck and have a chance on the rush. Umberger moving up. R.J. Umberger in across the line. Slams on the brakes, cuts to the middle, takes the shot. It went wide. And all the way out to Jay McClevitt, who gained the red line and one-handed into the Philadelphia zone. Semin's assist there, his 2nd point of this game, his 100th point as a Carolina Hurricane. Giroux winding it into the Carolina zone. Ward played it up. Gerby twists it ahead, and Tulosti moves up on the left wing. Pass off the back of a skate, and Michael Raffl is there. And it's off the boards to himself, but 3 Hurricanes right around him. And he coughs the puck up. Here's Tulosti in after it. Alzado beats him to it. Alzado trying to start up. Tulosti staying right with him. Alzado turns back. Carolina Hurricanes in the basement of the Metropolitan Division. Playoff hopes long gone, but they are playing very hard in this game. Alzado will bounce this one in. Like Voracek was saying, how sometimes playing the teams that are out of the playoff picture can be tough because they're loose. You can see some of that with this Carolina team.
And Bill Peters telling us before the game that he felt his team was a little bit worried about the trade deadline. Some players hadn't been playing as well recently, but looks like they've calmed down for this one.
Yeah, and another reason too, guys, the Flyers' record of late is going to get other teams' attention for sure, how well they're playing, so someone wants to knock them off.
Giroux ahead here for Reed. At Reed, sidestepping a check, but there's another Hurricane to meet him as Riley Nash comes back to get the puck. Nash ahead off the stick of Semin and stays in play for Nick Schultz. Now the pass ahead, racing up Voracek. He's cut off, but was able to get the puck back in across the line. Well, originally, no whistle, but finally they do play it dead on the, or low play dead on the offside, so face up in the neutral zone.
The Xfinity Live Thursday night pack includes a ticket, a free pregame appetizer, and postgame beverage, plus a $10 gift card, all at Xfinity Live, starting at just $55. Available now for next Thursday's matchup against the St. Louis Blues, who come to town. The Flyers play the Blues a couple of times in a one-week span.
Canes deflecting the puck into the Philadelphia zone again. Omar back, checked by Jordan Staal. The puck played by Mark Streit. And Canes do not peel back at all, really, as they have continued to come at the Flyers since scoring that third goal. We'll be expecting pressure from the Hurricanes, and Flyers have certainly gotten that. 6 players all around the puck here. Who comes away with it?
It's just ingrained in there.
And finally it pops out of there. And it is Belmore back to get it for Carolina. 36 seconds remaining in the period. Jordan Staal looking for Eric, but missed him, and so this is icing. All that work to get the puck by the Hurricanes, and then they just ice it. The Flyers get the offensive zone draw.
And Craig Berube sends out Claude Giroux. Have to wonder if he'll put Voracek, and he does. Late in the period here, Voracek jumps out with Giroux, and Wayne Simmons on the right side here. So I guess Voracek will play the left wing, but we've got a timeout here.
Carolina.
Yeah, for the Carolina Hurricanes. An important part of the game in Bill Peters' mind, and some tired bodies on the ice after that icing.
The Flyers will head north of the border for their next game in Toronto. It'll be on Thursday night. That game on Comcast Sportsnet for you. Our coverage begins with Flyers pregame live at 7 o'clock. Opening face-up just after 7:30 from Air Canada Center. The Flyers and Leafs all kinds of issues. They are also in a lot of trade rumors. There's the schedule breakdown. Game in Toronto, then home against the Rangers on Saturday, the Carnival on Sunday, and then some more home ice hockey next week for the Flyers.
Leafs expecting or hoping that Dion Phaneuf will return to the lineup for that game. And Craig Berube's team's got some work to do in this one to get themselves back to even with Carolina.
After the timeout, the Canes able to clear the zone. Aiden Coburn back. Flyers still with 23 seconds to work with to try to get a rush developed here. Zotto to Giroux. Giroux to Voracek. Gains the line. Voracek the shot. Glove save Ward. He'll squeeze it.
First time in this game we've seen Voracek and Giroux reunited, and Craig Berube looking for answers here in this one. The Hurricanes have the 2-goal lead and have continued to be aggressive in their search for more offense. And the Flyers have to respond at the start of the third period if they can't get one here before this one ends.
Giroux and Nash on the face-off. Linesman Matt McPherson tossing Nash out. Clement steps in. He's actually their best face-off man. Got the puck behind the net. Simmons working hard to try to get it out of there. 7 seconds remaining in the period. Into the corner. Big hit by Simmons, but the puck down the ice, and that'll do it for period number 2. The Hurricanes break a 1-1 tie and score twice. Skinner and Jordan Staal, your goal scorers. And the Hurricanes now have a 3-1 lead with 2 periods. Part of the history books.
Arena 3-1 Carolina Hurricanes over the Philadelphia Flyers. outshooting them 10-8 in the second period. 2 goals in the second period from Jeff Skinner, his 15th of the season. Jordan Staal, his 4th of the year, as the Carolina Hurricanes look to close this one out in the third. Back to Jim Jackson, Keith Jones, and Chris Therien.
Class guy, too. He battled through a bunch of injuries over the last couple of seasons, stayed with it, and has had a nice bounce-back year for the Hurricanes, and the Flyers will have a tough time here against Cam Ward in the third period. He has been outstanding of late.
Tickets still available for that game, by the way, as we welcome back our audience from NBC Sports Network. Third period underway. Flyers want to build a comeback. Here's Voracek. Getting it off the skate of Van de Velde. Voracek out with Van de Velde and Bellemare again. He's seen several shifts with these guys over the last 3 games. We'll get the puck from point. Grossman across to McDonald. McDonald fires, and it went just wide. A slightly screened Ward, and then Carolina clears.
Good work down low in the offensive zone. The points have been open in this game for the Flyers, and Bellemare did a good job getting it back, and eventually McDonald fired the point shot that just missed the net.
Jordan Staal, the right wing feed. Lindholm back in the middle for Jordan Staal. Now to Eric. Back across ice behind Lindholm. Raffle to the loose puck. Starts the Flyers back the other way. McDonald with a pass into the middle. Back to Raffle. Cuts to the middle. Raffle then a pass to Simmons for a shot. They went off a stick and then glass. And the Hurricanes will get back to it. Raffle might have had a seam right to the net there.
He did, Jimmy. I'm standing right behind him watching him here, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm not sure why he passed. He had a parting of the season, an open lane right to the net. A little too unselfish.
Eric Staal got that in across the Philadelphia line. Flyers pitch it right back out. Ronaldo jumps in the puck, but he got into the zone before Matt Reed could get out. It's an offside call.
I think Michael Raffle was surprised he had as much room as he did. McDonald with a nice pass there, and all of a sudden Michael Raffle finds himself with a perfect shooting lane to walk into. He did make a nice pass to Simmons, but that was the wrong guy.
Yeah, you know, I'm telling you guys, he could have had a little mini breakaway right here. The angle he had, he was dancing right towards the front of the net. You know, I know you want to pass and be unselfish. That's a play right there. You got to be selfish for your team, going in there and trying to get yourself a goal.
John Couturier will lob one deep into the Carolina zone. Ronaldo goes and gets it. It's Couturier marked by Bellemare. Reed picks it up. Look out, Nick Schultz. And then Couturier, good job of getting that puck away from Bellemare, but then was checked as he tried to get out in front. Ronaldo takes a peek around and then hands off to Streit, who backhands it, crawls up the side of the net, and jabbed back behind by Ward. Out to the point it goes. Flyers will keep it in. Good puck possession for the Flyers as they spend time in the offensive zone, but unable to get control there. They keep it in again. Here's Reed after it, and play called as the puck was hit with a high stick.
Well, let's take a look at our Toyota turning point of this hockey game. We're going to go back to the second period as Carolina scored 2 goals on the Philadelphia Flyers. What was a 1-1 tie at the end of the first. First one there by Jeff Skinner. Semin gets a pass in front of the power play. Jordan Staal gets the greasy goal in front on that rebound, and that was the difference so far in this game, where it stays 3-1 to this point. That was a Toyota turning point.
Falk got that puck out in front. We've got an injured Flyers. There was a collision, and R.J. Umberger is down, trying to make his way back up, but he's obviously in some pain.
Ryan White made contact with R.J. Umberger. The two Flyers coming together. White trying to make contact in behind the Carolina Hurricanes net, and you can see him kind of pointing to himself. He was quick to get his arm up in the air and called Jimmy McCrossin to get over to help R.J. Umberger. There's White, 25. Tried to throw the hit there on Falk, and the ever-elusive Falk gets out of the way, and Umberger takes the brunt of it.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Tried to line him up, couldn't change directions, and he caught a piece of R.J.
So R.J. getting help from Andrew McDonald, and Jim McCrossin as he heads off toward the Philadelphia bench. The fact that he's going to the bench means that maybe it's not too bad, because obviously they could take him right off the ice here, but Umberger's going to stay over on the bench.
Going to try to shake it off here right next to me. Jim McCrossin having a look at him, and RJ just letting him know what the deal is. So it is a good sign, Jimmy, as you said, making sure he's back here on the bench. And worse, he'd be off up in the tunnel.
Grossman Firing the puck into the Carolina zone. Gleason there. Line it up the boards and all the way down the ice. McDonald, they wave the icing off. And he'll get the puck to Schenn for Voracek. There's Voracek now a shift with Schenn and White. Zumberger off the ice. Schenn will play it back in. The Canes have it. Here's Skinner. From center ice. Blasted wide of Zepp. Nice Lindholm. Another awkward collision, but both players seem to be all right as Giroux will move it ahead. Flyers trying to get in across the line. Raffl got turned around. Sekera takes the puck. A heavy hit on him with the puck ahead. Tipped and out to center ice go the Hurricanes. Inside-outside maneuvering by Lindholm, but Coburn ended up taking him to the corner boards. In comes Eric Stahl. His shot blocked. Pops out Sekera. The wind and fire. Saves Zepp. And he rejected it all the way out to Giroux. So Giroux from the red line will just spin it into the Carolina zone. Cam Ward high off the glass. It bounces off of Simmons. Flyers keep it in, but right to Eric Stahl. Eric Stahl checked by Streit. And Giroux will throw it back to Nick Schultz. And a near turnover by the Flyers. In fact, it is a turnover, and the shot saves. Have another save. He got both Stahl brothers in that sequence. Now Bellemore moves in. Now behind the Philadelphia net. Those turnovers have been an issue for the Flyers all night long.
They have, and you don't want to be turning pucks over with the two Stahls on the ice. They've got the long reach, the big bodies, and the ability to score goals. Rob Zepp comes up with two huge saves there. One of the reasons the Flyers had such a great weekend against two great teams, guys, they really limited their turnovers. Different story here tonight.
Lusty winds it in. Grossman throws it to the middle. That one goes back out. Jordan. And a swing and a miss. He's got it back. Kyle Jordan. And then Gleason will just take it off the glass deep into the Philadelphia zone. Approaching the 5-minute mark of this third period. Flyers down 2. Boston in a 1-1 hockey game as the third period got underway in their contest. And Chicago and Florida. Blackhawks have a 1-0 lead on the Panthers there, so the Flyers getting a little help, at least for now, in that game.
Planning a special event or get-together, hosted in a suite at a Flyers game and experience the game in your own personal space. Visit PhiladelphiaFlyers.com/premium seating to book your suite today. Flyers yet to have a shot on goal here in the third period.
And the Canes win the offensive zone draw. Skinner's shot blocked by Grossman. Reed reaching. Bellemore kept it in. Now batted out through center by Grossman. And Hainsey's back to recapture for Carolina. And Riley Nash and into the Philadelphia zone. Delzato first to it. Slugs it up the wall, but it does not make it out of the zone. So back into the corner. Ryder McDonald emerges with the puck. McDonald, the right wing pass. Ronaldo couldn't play it as he was checked, and now Riley Nash moving in. Nash to the backhand, tried to center, and the Flyers smother that. Delzato sprawling out. McDonald gets his stick up, and he's going to go to the box. Skinner went down, and Andrew McDonald will visit the sin bin, and Carolina will get another power play. A chance to increase their lead.
Here's Michael Delzato making a good defensive play there. Swings around and gets his stick on it, and then the penalty to follow.
Well, let's take a look now at our Hyundai save of the game, and it just happened seconds ago, guys. Rob Zepp. Tell you what, you're going to get an opportunity to stop both Stahls. There's Eric, there's Jordan. Rob Zepp says, I'm better than both you guys in this sequence here, and he was. That's a Hyundai save of the game.
Near must kill for the Flyers here. Falk's shot, and he broke his stick as the shot was smothered, but puck kept in the zone. Rask out to Lindholm, now to Lusty, back out to Rask. Under to the stick there. Falk blasts another one, but well wide. Lindholm to the carom. Now Rask back for Lindholm. This is a very confident looking power play. It's tallied twice already in the game, and well over 20% here of late. The Flyers steal the puck there from Rask and clear it down the ice.
Bill Peters not backing off at all as far as having 4 forwards on the power play. And when you're out of the playoff picture, you're looking to work on things and build on a lead. And the Flyers could try to take advantage of that and see if they can pick up a shorthanded marker.
And Reed Leaned down by Eric Stahl in the corner. Down he went. The puck underneath him momentarily. Now they dig away. Back out to the point. Falk. It's to Eric Stahl. He turns with it. Delusti. Tries the other side. And they go back out to Falk, who winds and fires, blocked off by Reed. Rask over to it. Now Delusti tied up by Grossman, and Matt Reed jumps to the puck on the backhand. Not enough on that. Kept in by Falk. His pass across to Eric Stahl. Stahl waiting, circles around behind, and then just hangs right on to it. Finds Falk again. Back across ice, tipped by Couturier, and it goes into the Philadelphia bench.
Lots of puck possession on that Hurricanes power play. Most of it running through Justin Falk. He's had an outstanding game here tonight. You can see the body contact there, the heads-up play, getting the puck through the cement, allowing Jordan Staal to find that rebound. And he picked up the opening goal in this game. It was a power play marker, and there's no question that the Hurricanes power play runs through that man there.
We were both commenting about how solid he looks. He's built solidly. I mean, heavy guy. That puck out in front. Coburn just laying out. It was actually underneath him. He got up. It squirted free. Now underneath him again. Referees, linesmen all looking very carefully at this. Coburn finally kicks it free as it was being swatted at. And the Canes have the puck. Power play into its waning moments. Cross ice. That shot goes wide for Sakari. Wasn't happy with the stick on that one. But it bounces free. And here's Jordan Staal in front. Looking for Skinner, and hopped over his stick. Vandenvelde to the puck. The Flyers back to full strength. They need to try to generate some offense. Clear the zone here. The Canes have it right back. Flyers trying to change players. Coburn breaks up that pass at the line. And now it's bounced into Philadelphia ice as the Canes make player changes. Here's Mark Streit finding some room. Fakes the shot. Spins wide and then takes it. Glove save Ward. And he'll hang right on. Just over 8 minutes into the third period. It's still the Canes by 2. Ward's Canes with a 3-1 lead on the Flyers. Here is our Pennsylvania Lottery pick of the game. Who else but Cam Ward, hitting the milestone with 500 games played in the National Hockey League. He's stopped all but one shot so far. It's been an impressive career for Cam Ward. And I think at the bottom, the ones that mean the most to him, the Stanley Cup championship, and he carried that team at times in that run.
He sure did. He was unbelievable during that playoff run, and one of the more athletic goaltenders in the National Hockey League. Maybe that's what led to some of his injury issues.
Pennsylvania Lottery benefits older Pennsylvanians. Ward with a save off of that face-off win by the Flyers. They get their second shot of the period there. They had their first just before we stepped aside for the break. They really haven't had a legitimate scoring chance, I can't say, that I remember here in the third period.
They have not, and they want to get in on the forecheck here. Not sure if Craig Berube will try to go back to Giroux and Voracek for a couple of shifts here in the third period, but he did do it at the end of the second period to try to create some offense. We'll have to see what he does.
Time to give the answer to our Jeep trivia question of tonight's game. We asked who held the Carolina franchise record for penalty minutes. It was Kevin Dineen, the former Flyer. 1,439 penalty minutes, including his days as a Hartford Whaler. At Goon, Kevin Dineen.
He was a tough guy to play against. Yep, there's no question about it.
He would do anything for the betterment of the team, and would leave marks doing it. I played with Kevin for a year, and he was a great teammate, guys. I'll tell you what, he competed hard.
Flyers' last ever game at Chicago Stadium, he scored 4 goals.
There you go. He could score.
Oh,
he had skill.
Good player, yeah, and had a lot of skill.
Of course, coached in the NHL recently.
The coach of the women's national team last year, won the Olympics.
In dramatic fashion. There's Delzato, a shot, and that one hit something in front as Ward flashed out. Trying to get to it. Couturier off for Voracek. Voracek, a pass into the middle. Coburn could not come up with it. He'll go after it in the corner. Around behind the net, Reed. Matt Reed. Hands off to Couturier. Couturier steps to the side of the net, then flips it back to Delzato. Delzato trying to get away from the checking of Gerby. Circles back. He's got some room now. Flings a shot. Batted down. Rebound, Reed. And that one winds up in the corner as it was deflected away. Now it's batted out of midair to Reed for a shot. That's blocked. Back to Reed. Tremendous pressure from the Flyers here as they try to get within 1. Streit to Couturier. Turns and fires. Redirection. It stayed out. I believe it hit the post. Ward is down. Puck in front. Couturier got it back to Reed. Now Streit. He breaks his stick on the shot. And the Hurricanes break back with the puck. Rask to Gerby. Gerby with a shot and saves that angle drive, and that's off the outside of the net. Well, the Flyers with all kinds of pressure. Great chances. Ward a couple saves, then he got some help from the post.
I think the Flyers caught 2 posts there. One on a Voracek redirection in front of the net, and then a second chance by Matt Reed around the goal line. Not sure if that one caught the side of the net or the post.
Eric Staal sends his brother out. Here's Staal. Jordan into the slot area. Falk a shot off the outside of the net. Zep may have gotten a piece of it. Big hit in the corner by Giroux, and now he moves the puck ahead to Simmons. Simmons back to Giroux, but the pass too far out in front of him, and he could only just swat it into the Carolina zone. Sekera will move it across. Falk to Jordan Staal. Flyers steal the puck. Turning with it is Raffl. Raffl back out for Grossman and slipped past him out to the neutral zone. Less than half a period remaining now for the Flyers to try to get this one back even. They are down 2. Boston trailing in their game with Vancouver at last check.
Zach Kassian, another goal for the Vancouver Canucks. Healthy scratch to hero scoring lately.
And play stopped here as the puck was hit with a high stick. Flyers oh so close to making this a 1-goal game. The redirection from Voracek. And it caught Pike. Another try here. Thank you very much, Layla. Flyers down 2 here, trying to get some help from the Blackhawks as they host the Florida Panthers. Panthers point ahead of the Flyers. The Eastern Conference playoff race. Jonathan Toews will get that one as he tried to center it, bounces back to him, he buries it. And so the Blackhawks with a 1-0 lead in that game as they move toward the second period in the Windy City. These two teams will play each other twice in rapid succession. And the rest of the out-of-town scoreboard, 11 games in the National Hockey League tonight. The scores appearing right-hand corner of your screen. There's that Vancouver lead. The Flyers need to take care of their own business and find some offense here in the second half of this third period. Tremendous pressure there moments ago, just could not finish. There's Patrick Dwyer to the Philadelphia zone. Grossman to the puck. And Ronaldo, he just deflects it past Hainsey out to the neutral zone. Kane's back on it, and Hainsey spins it in to Philadelphia ice. And it's Grossman who will get there for Philadelphia.
Tell you one thing, guys want to know the score. I had a couple Flyers already look over at me and ask scores of the Boston and Florida games tonight so far. They're not around here on the banner.
Here's Michael Raffl accepting that pass, but then caught by Gleason and disrupted. Gleason takes the puck away. Raffl goes back after Gleason, knocks his stick out of his hands. The Flyers at the puck. Simmons dragged down, no penalty call. He wanted one there, but the Canes knocked him down. Now Simmons back to it behind the net, centers it in front, just out of the reach of Raffl. And it's Skinner getting it out of the zone. Flyers really in attack mode now.
And the pressure is on. The Hurricanes have done a very good job for most of this game of keeping the Flyers hemmed up in the defensive zone. The Flyers starting to get their offensive game going now.
Delzato with a shot. Save. Ward rebound right out in front, but no Flyer could get to it. And Skinner flutters one out to the neutral zone. And it's Jordan Staal who gets to it. Staal circles back. His pass out to center, brought back in by Sekera offside.
Cam Ward comes up with a big save here as the Flyers continue to mount the pressure. A lot of it coming from the defense. Delzato alertly jumping in there, fires it stick side, and Ward kicks out a rebound, but Carolina's there to retrieve it.
That was right there on the doorstep. 4 Carolina men moved back into that paint area to try to protect the rebound. Good save by Ward. Nice job defensively by the Carolina Hurricanes clearing the rebound.
Jordan Staal wins the draw. Sekera will go across to Falk. Wind it into the Philadelphia zone. Jordan Staal comes up with it. He has been a force in this game. He gets it to his brother. The centering pass for Lindholm. Lindholm backhanding it. Back along for Eric. Eric for Jordan. And to fight off Couturier in doing so. Pass off of Lindholm back out to Falk. And then the pass tipped away out to the neutral zone. Racing back to get it is Jordan Staal. Now he turns it over at the line. The Flyers will push it back. Here's Voracek gaining the Carolina line. Holds onto the puck. Gets some space. Cross ice Couturier. And he sent it in front. Batted away by Ward. Now McDonald the blast. Save Ward. And he hangs on. Game number 500 for Cam Ward, and he's being called upon more and more here late in this game to come up big.
And Sean Couturier kind of had a shot pass here. He was thinking shot first, but then tried to go back door, and Cam Ward did a terrific job in anticipating that, got his paddle down, and steered it clear.
Again, what a great piece of vision there by Jake Voracek and Couturier. A nice shot here by McDonald, and no rebound by Ward. What a play by Voracek, though.
Flyers win the draw. Simmons' pass nearly tipped out to the neutral zone. He got it back, spun it down low, but Ward gets to Hainsey. Now ahead. Rask got his pass knocked down, but it bounces to Gerby. Gerby back out toward the point and ends up drifting to the neutral zone. Hainsey has it there, and he'll swing it in. 6:15 remaining in the third. Still 3-1 Carolina. McDonald forced back by Talusti. Grossman and McDonald play catch. Pass to Simmons. He'll shovel one through center. Giroux spun around. Shen tried to get it back to Giroux, but Giroux had two Canes to deal with, and they knock it away.
Tough sledding there. Carolina doing a terrific job of getting to the puck carrier, and well, the Flyers headed in the defensive zone, making sure Carolina, that is, was back in good position.
Brad Malone, a shot that takes off. He's back after it now. Coburn jams it away from him. Delzato to Voracek. Voracek, a pass that hit a leg, bounces behind the net. Malone, center shot. They score. Jay McClement, as the Hurricanes yet again take advantage of a Flyer turnover, and they lead 4-1.
Carolina continues aggressive here in the third period, and then jump on another loose puck. Voracek tried the outlet pass. The support wasn't there that Craig Berube was looking for, and then Malone makes a nice play out to McClement, who buries it high to the glove side.
Yeah, hits a skate. Voracek looking for an open seam. Do things you don't usually do when you're trailing, and Coburn doesn't have a stick down to the ice. Puck comes back out front to McClement. He just circles the wagon here. What a nice pass out front. He gets that puck up elevated pretty quick, right in tight unzone.
There's a shot by Simmons, scooped up by Zepp, and he'll get the whistle. 5:15 to play. The Canes now lead by 3. This Hurricanes game is brought to you by Wells Fargo. Together we'll go far. By Toyota. Where will Toyota take you? Visit buyatoyota.com to find out. Toyota, let's go places. And by Bud Light, the perfect beer for whatever happens. Flyers down 3 with just 5:15 to go, and they are going to need a huge comeback to avoid their 4th straight loss here at PNC Arena. Also, they would fall to 6-5-1 since the new year against teams not in the playoff picture. It's above 500, but you really want to take more of an advantage of those teams if you're trying to make a playoff push. There's a shot by Jordan, a save by Zepp. The Flyers have left some points on the table there.
No question about it, and those are ones they'll want to have back here down the stretch. Let's take a look at our Mazda top shelf performers here tonight. Voracek picks up another assist, now tied for the National Hockey League in points, with lead with 64 points. Falk has been outstanding, a goal and assist. Alexander Semin has played extremely well. He's fired the puck on net 6 times, has a couple of helpers, and Cam Ward, in his 500th career NHL game, has shut the door on the Flyers.
Nick Grossman will get that one up and out of the zone. Ryan White after it. Now Jay Umberger carries on. Umberger's shot off a stick and out of play.
Quick line change for Craig Berube. A little pushing and shoving going on here with Ryan White in the middle of it. Like Belmore maybe for the Hurricanes involved as well. And Berube quick to get Voracek, Couturier, and Reed on the ice. They've had the best offensive opportunities here tonight. Voracek picking up an assist. So did Reed on the Grossman goal, and they had a couple of goal posts here in the third period.
Flyers win the draw, and the point shot by McDonald batted away by Ward. Couturier knocks down a clear. Reed pursuing. Hainsey wraps him up. Now Rask is unable to escape with the puck. Voracek being worked on. Belmore. McDonald came in. Voracek, McDonald, but Staying with it, the Hurricanes, and they clear it out to center ice. And McDonald will go across ice to Grossman. Grossman has the Flyers goal in this game. Throws it ahead to Reed. And Reed diagonally in. Couturier after it. He's got it. His pass for Voracek is broken up. And Nathan Gerbe trying to escape. He's checked. Reed steals. Gets it to Voracek. Voracek in the slot. Here's Nick Schultz's shot. Batted away in front. I don't know if that got through to Ward. And there was traffic in front of him as the Canes will clear it all the way down. This will be icing against Carolina.
Well, the Flyers take on the New York Rangers this Saturday. It's an 8 o'clock game. No doubt a playoff-like atmosphere at the Wells Fargo Center. Then they will face off against the Calgary Flames next Tuesday. That is a 7 o'clock start. Reserve your tickets now at PhiladelphiaFlyers.com.
Voracek, another hard-working shift. Just couldn't get a whole lot done with it.
Nope, but the work ethic is always there from Jake Voracek. And the Hurricanes have matched that work in this game, and they're deserving of being up 4-1.
Strite shot hit Ryan White as he had been knocked to the ice. And he is now having trouble skating as he tries to get back up, and it's Gerbe's shot that deflects out of play. I thought White got knocked down. Also, he's gimpy because the shot hit him, I guess, as he's complaining to the referee, so he obviously thought he got knocked down as well.
He did. He was not happy with the non-call on that play, and while he was down and out, he got hit by the shot, and that aggravated him a little bit more. He does head to the Flyers bench there and a little dinged up.
Canes win the draw. Sekera on the backhand. And turns with it. He always seems to be under control, doesn't he? Throws it into the corner. Lindholm takes the shot. Zepp to save. Another shot on the one-hand shot there by Lindholm, denied by Zepp.
Sekera so smooth with the puck, and you'll see him here again under control. When you have a partner like Justin Falk, I think that goes a long way, but Sekera's been a real comforting defense partner for Falk, a young defenseman that's still only just 22 years of age.
Trade deadline Monday. Quite possibly you'll see this guy in a different uniform by then. In the meantime, rivalry night tomorrow night. Should be a great hockey game. Usually is when the Penguins and Capitals get together. Coverage beginning on NBCSN at 7 o'clock. Our next broadcast at Comcast Sportsnet is Thursday night. The Flyers will be trying to bounce back, it appears, as they take on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Our coverage beginning with Flyers pregame live at 7 o'clock. Flyers down 3 as we tick down to 3 minutes remaining in the third period here. Don will just gently toss that puck deeper into Philadelphia ice. Canes certainly content to do that now. Gleason with a shot that's blocked. Vandervelde didn't see the puck, and Aldo does. Gets it to Belmar. Now Vandervelde gets some ice room to work with. Takes the shot, blocked by Jordan. And now it's into the corner. The Canes exert themselves against the Flyers. If they win this game, it'll be 6 of their last 7 in which they've been victorious against Philadelphia. Ward another save, and he's on to get a face-off.
Well, let's take a look at our Bud Light player of the game. Been a few good players in this game, but Justin Falk has stood out. Guys made some terrific plays in this hockey game. Goal on the initial play, power play, and assist as well. He's had a tremendous hockey game for Carolina. Really doing a lot back there to generate offense, get the puck out of the zone effectively. Justin Falk, the Bud Light player of the game.
Cornerstone player for this team. He signed through 2020. Only 22 years of age. Voracek's shot here blocked. Goes all the way down the ice. Jake goes back to get the puck. Actually lost it as Skinner got in his way. Then Voracek getting in Riley Nash's way, and the Flyers have it. White falls down. Reed ahead for Couturier. And he'll move it through Voracek into the Carolina zone, but clock an ally of the Canes now, down to 2:07 remaining. Teams will play twice more this year, both late in the season in April. Once here and once in Philadelphia. Ryan White, a pass in the middle. Got his man, but Umberger could not get his shot through. Again, the Canes converging quickly. Bill Peters in his first year. Flyers have seen the Canes twice. You can see the progression. This team is getting better.
Yeah, when you start to put some wins together, that message becomes a little bit easier on the players' ears, and there's no question that it's an effective system that Bill Peters has in place, and the players starting to have a much bigger buy-in than maybe in the early part of the season.
and your goalie's been playing well, which helps.
Outside call there, but it's a hand pass. You know, this is not going to be the way the storybook would have written it for Rob Zepp, because back in 2001, he was a 4th pick of the Carolina Hurricanes, and for a year or two, he was considered the goalie of the future in this organization. Had a couple minor league seasons that were pretty good. Never did make it up to Carolina. Of course, you know the story from then. He went overseas and now is just now making his way into the NHL, and he's been a big story for the Flyers. And you wonder what went through his mind, if anything, playing against the team that so long ago drafted him.
I bet a lot went through his mind. There's no question about it. You know, spending time in the minor league system, and of course having aspirations of making it to the National Hockey League. All of a sudden, what is it, 14 years later, here he is. It's an incredible story.
It's a great story. It really is, Jonesy.
Into the final minute of this hockey game. The Flyers, after the 2 wins over top clubs in Nashville and Washington, are about to lose to the 8th place team in the Metropolitan Division, albeit a team that will move to 12-7-3 in their last several games as they played better since the turn of the year. The results have been better. And the fans that made their way through the snow and ice saluting the Hurricanes now as we move to the final 20 seconds of this one. Vancouver's leading Boston 2-1 with less than 2 minutes to play up in Boston, so the Flyers may remain 4 points back, although still plenty of hockey to be played there. But in that case, it becomes a blown opportunity. They could have moved perhaps to within 2 points of Boston.
No doubt that you're looking for help from other teams, and Vancouver's providing at least a chance here.
Canes win it. 4-1 your final score. Cam Ward in his 500th National Hockey League game gets his 240th National Hockey League win. He was helped along by Falk and Jordan Staal. Good team effort for the Canes as they outplay the Flyers, outshoot them 35-24 and outscore them 4-1.
Yeah, wild night here for the Carolina Hurricanes as far as their offensive game went. They end up with the 35 shots on net. Cam Ward comes up with numerous saves at the right time, and players like Alexander Semin and Jeff Skinner come up with huge offensive games and allowing the Hurricanes to skate to a 4-1 victory.